What if the shame you feel about masturbation is a lie carefully crafted over centuries? What if this natural act, instead of being a source of guilt, is actually a key to unlocking hidden dimensions of your being? For generations, societal norms and religious doctrines have painted masturbation as a sin, a vice, or a sign of weakness, effectively suppressing a far more profound and empowering truth. This isn't just about physical pleasure. It's about reclaiming your sexual energy, understanding its connection to your spiritual growth, and shattering the chains of limiting beliefs that have held you captive for far too long. Prepare to question everything you've been taught, because the ancient world held a radically different perspective, one that could revolutionize your relationship with yourself and your sexuality. Imagine a time when sexuality wasn't shrouded in secrecy and shame, but was instead celebrated as a vital force, a source of creativity, healing, and spiritual awakening. This is the reality that lies buried beneath layers of cultural conditioning, a forgotten wisdom that whispers to us from ancient texts and esoteric traditions. By perpetuating the idea that masturbation is inherently wrong, we've not only stifled our natural impulses, but also cut ourselves off from a powerful tool for self-discovery and personal transformation. The stakes are high: your freedom, your self-acceptance, and your ability to tap into the limitless potential that resides within you. Are you ready to challenge the status quo and reclaim your birthright of sexual and spiritual autonomy? Hidden within the pages of Hindu scriptures, Egyptian papyri, and Greek philosophies lie tantalizing clues to a more enlightened understanding of masturbation. These aren't just dusty old books. They are maps to a hidden landscape of knowledge, waiting to be rediscovered and reinterpreted. We've been told that masturbation leads to physical and mental decline, that it's a sign of moral weakness. But what if these are nothing more than carefully constructed myths designed to control and suppress our natural energy? Consider the concept of jaying in traditional Chinese medicine, the vital essence that fuels our life force and connects us to the universe. Could it be that conscious engagement with our sexuality, including masturbation, can actually enhance this vital energy and unlock heightened states of awareness? What if masturbation, practiced consciously and mindfully, could unlock heightened states of awareness, boost creativity, and even serve as a form of spiritual practice? How would that change things? What if the story of Onan in the Old Testament, so often cited as a condemnation of masturbation, has been deliberately misinterpreted, its original cultural context twisted to serve a particular agenda? The revelations to come may shock you, challenging your deepest beliefs and assumptions about sexuality. We'll delve into the contrasting perspectives of ancient wisdom and modern dogma, exposing the hidden agendas and cultural biases that have shaped our current understanding. Get ready to embark on a journey that will not only transform your relationship with masturbation, but also awaken you to the power and potential that lies dormant within you. The texts, traditions, and beliefs we are about to explore offer a stark contrast to the restrictive views so prevalent today, inviting you to reconsider everything you thought you knew about this deeply personal experience. Prepare to journey back in time as we uncover the diverse and often surprising perspectives of ancient civilizations on sexuality, setting the stage for a radical reinterpretation of masturbation's potential role in spiritual practice and personal empowerment. This exploration will dismantle modern myths, challenge religious dogma, and ultimately provide you with practical techniques to reclaim your sexual energy and engage in conscious self-exploration. What if the path to spiritual awakening and self-acceptance lies not in abstinence or shame, but in a deeper understanding of our innate sexual nature? The ancient world was far from monolithic in its views on sexuality. Each civilization brought its own unique lens to this fundamental aspect of human existence. Consider ancient Greece, where homosexuality was not only accepted, but often celebrated, particularly within the context of male mentorship and intellectual exchange. This contrasts sharply with the Roman emphasis on procreation and the patriarchal family structure, where sex was primarily viewed as a means to ensure the continuation of lineage and the stability of the state. The Greeks, with their philosophical inquiries into pleasure and virtue, provide a fascinating counterpoint to the Romans' pragmatic approach, revealing the diverse ways in which ancient societies navigated the complexities of human desire. What if the acceptance of diverse sexual expression in ancient Greece wasn't a sign of moral decay, but rather an indication of a more open and tolerant society, one that recognized the inherent value of pleasure and connection? In ancient Egypt, sexuality was inextricably linked to the life force, a potent energy that fueled creation and sustained the cosmos. The god Min, often depicted with an erect phallus, symbolized fertility, virility, and the regenerative power of nature. Fertility festivals, marked by ecstatic rituals and communal celebrations, were commonplace, honoring the divine union of male and female principles. The Egyptians believed that sexual energy was not something to be suppressed or ashamed of, but rather a sacred force to be harnessed for the benefit of the individual and the community. Imagine the power of a society that embraced its sexuality so openly, recognizing its potential to heal, inspire, and connect us to the divine. What if we could reclaim this ancient wisdom, integrating sexual energy into our modern lives as a source of vitality and spiritual growth? Further east, in ancient Mesopotamia, sex and fertility were deeply intertwined with agricultural abundance. Sacred prostitution, practiced in the temples of goddesses like Ishtar, was not seen as a profane act, but as a ritual to ensure fertile harvests and the prosperity of the land. The Ishtar Gate, a magnificent testament to Mesopotamian artistry, served as a gateway to the Temple of Ishtar, where these rituals were performed. The priestesses who participated in these sacred unions were revered as conduits of divine energy, embodying the life-giving power of the feminine. It was believed that through these acts, the gods were appeased and the cycles of nature were maintained. Can we glean insights from this ancient practice, understanding that sex, in its purest form, is a connection to life itself? Ancient India, with its rich tapestry of philosophical and spiritual traditions, offered yet another perspective on sexuality, one that laid the foundation for the later development of Tantra. Sexual symbolism permeated art, architecture, and religious practices, reflecting the belief that the union of male and female principles was essential for cosmic harmony. The Kama Sutra, often misunderstood as a mere manual of erotic positions, was actually a comprehensive guide to a fulfilling and balanced life, encompassing not only physical pleasure, but also emotional intimacy, social etiquette, and spiritual growth. This ancient text invites us to view sexuality as an integral part of the human experience, a path to deeper connection with ourselves and others. How different would our world be if we embraced this holistic view of sexuality, recognizing its potential to enrich our lives on multiple levels? These diverse views on sexuality challenge modern, often narrow, perspectives, inviting us to question the origins of our own beliefs and assumptions. The contrast between ancient celebrations of sexual energy and modern shame and guilt is particularly striking, highlighting the extent to which our attitudes have been shaped by historical and cultural biases. In the sections that follow, we will delve deeper into these ancient texts, exploring the potential spiritual significance of masturbation when understood within its proper historical context. What if the key to unlocking our full potential lies in reclaiming the wisdom of the ancients, freeing ourselves from the chains of limiting beliefs, and embracing the transformative power of our own sexual energy? While direct references to masturbation are rare in ancient texts, certain passages offer tantalizing clues about its potential spiritual significance, especially when viewed through the lens of symbolism and historical context. Just because an ancient text doesn't explicitly mention masturbation doesn't mean the act was not considered important or relevant to spiritual practice. Often, the wisdom is encoded in metaphors, allegories, and symbolic language, requiring careful interpretation and a willingness to look beyond the surface. What if the absence of direct references is not an indication of disapproval, but rather an invitation to explore the deeper, hidden meanings embedded within these ancient teachings? Consider the story of Onan in the Old Testament, often cited as a condemnation of masturbation. The traditional interpretation focuses on Onan's refusal to impregnate his deceased brother's wife, leading to the assumption that his spilling his seed on the ground was the sin. However, a closer examination of the original Hebrew text and the historical context of ancient Jewish law reveals a more nuanced interpretation. The primary concern was not the act of masturbation itself, but rather Onan's failure to fulfill his social and familial duty to provide an heir for his brother. What if the story of Onan has been deliberately misinterpreted for centuries, used as a tool to control and suppress natural sexual impulses, obscuring the true message of familial responsibility and social obligation? In contrast to the Western condemnation, Taoist sexual practices offer a radically different perspective on the role of sexual energy in cultivating vitality and longevity. The concept of jaying, or sexual essence, is central to Taoist philosophy, representing a potent life force that can be either depleted through excessive ejaculation or preserved and transmuted for spiritual growth. The Taoists developed elaborate techniques for preserving and circulating this energy, including practices like returning the semen to nourish the brain, which involves redirecting sexual energy upwards through the body to enhance mental clarity and spiritual awareness. What if these ancient techniques hold the key to unlocking untapped reservoirs of energy within us, allowing us to experience heightened states of consciousness and extend our lifespan? Tantric principles of energy transmutation take this concept even further, highlighting the potential for conscious sexual practices to facilitate spiritual awakening. The symbolism of deities engaged in sexual union, known as Maithuna, represents the merging of masculine and feminine energies, a process that can lead to profound spiritual insights. Tantric practitioners believe that by consciously engaging with sexual energy, they can transform it into a powerful force for self-realization, dissolving the ego and merging with the divine. Imagine the transformative potential of harnessing sexual energy for spiritual purposes, using it as a catalyst for personal growth and enlightenment. Is it possible that the condemnation of sexuality in some religious traditions has blinded us to its inherent spiritual potential? Even within ancient Greek philosophies, which often emphasized self-control and moderation, we find hints of a more balanced approach to pleasure and self-expression. Stoicism, with its focus on virtue and reason, advocated for a life free from excessive desires, but it didn't necessarily condemn pleasure outright. Epicureanism, on the other hand, recognized the importance of pleasure as a guiding principle in life, but emphasized the need for moderation and the avoidance of pain. These philosophies suggest that mindful engagement with pleasure, including sexual pleasure, can be a part of a virtuous and fulfilling life, as long as it is practiced with self-awareness and self-control. What if the ancient Greeks, in their pursuit of balance and harmony, understood the importance of integrating pleasure into a life of virtue, recognizing its potential to enhance well-being and self-knowledge? The modern societal attitudes toward masturbation, shame, guilt, and the persistent notion of it being a sin stand in stark contrast to the more accepting, and at times even celebratory, views of certain ancient cultures. This discrepancy forces us to confront the question: where did these negative beliefs originate, and what purpose do they serve? The anxieties that many harbor about masturbation, such as fears of physical harm or mental instability, appear unfounded when viewed against the backdrop of holistic approaches to sexuality found in ancient traditions. which regarded sexual energy as a vital component of overall well-being. What if these anxieties are nothing more than socially constructed fears, perpetuated to control and suppress our natural impulses? The historical events of the Victorian era and the rise of certain religious movements significantly shaped the negative attitudes we see today. During the Victorian period, pseudoscientific theories gained traction, with figures like Dr. Kellogg promoting anti-masturbation campaigns based on flawed medical understanding. Moral panics were fueled by the belief that masturbation led to physical and mental deterioration, contributing to a climate of fear and repression surrounding sexuality. These historical events cast a long shadow, influencing our perceptions of masturbation even in the 21st century. How much of our current discomfort stems not from innate knowledge, but from cultural narratives we've inherited from a bygone era? Modern scientific research increasingly debunks the common myths about masturbation's negative effects on physical and mental health. Studies have shown that masturbation can relieve stress, improve sleep quality, and enhance sexual satisfaction. Furthermore, there is no scientific evidence to support the claim that masturbation causes physical harm or mental instability. By clinging to these unfounded beliefs, we deny ourselves the potential benefits of a healthy and natural sexual expression. If the science contradicts the stigma, why does the stigma persist? Religious dogma often condemns masturbation as sinful or impure, perpetuating a cycle of shame and guilt. However, alternative spiritual perspectives emphasize self-acceptance and body positivity, advocating for a more inclusive and compassionate approach to sexuality. Many modern spiritual teachers encourage individuals to explore their sexuality in a mindful and respectful way, recognizing that it can be a source of pleasure, connection, and self-discovery. What if we reframed our understanding of spirituality to embrace the full spectrum of human experience, including our sexuality, rather than rejecting it as something inherently sinful or shameful? Overcoming internalized shame and guilt requires critical thinking and self-awareness. We must question the sources of our beliefs, reflecting on childhood messages about sex and identifying ways to challenge these limiting ideas. By embracing a more compassionate and accepting view of ourselves, we can liberate ourselves from the constraints of societal norms and religious dogma. Consider the power of reclaiming your narrative, rewriting your story to embrace self-acceptance and celebrate your authentic self. Are you ready to challenge the status quo and embark on a journey of self-discovery, reclaiming your sexual energy and embracing your full potential? Understanding these ancient perspectives empowers us to reclaim our sexual energy and engage in conscious self-exploration. And in the next section, we'll explore how to do just that. Mindful masturbation can be a powerful tool for self-discovery, stress reduction, and emotional balance, unlocking a deeper understanding of our bodies, our desires, and our spiritual potential. What if this act, so often shrouded in shame, could become a gateway to greater self-acceptance, self-love, and overall well-being? As we've journeyed through the annals of ancient civilizations, from the fertile lands of Egypt to the philosophical landscapes of Greece and the spiritually rich traditions of India, we've uncovered a recurring theme. Sexuality, and by extension masturbation, was not always the source of shame and guilt that it is so often portrayed as today. What was once framed as taboo, suppressed by societal norms and religious dogma, has ancient roots as something potentially sacred, a vital force for personal and collective well-being. Modern interpretations, heavily influenced by Victorian anxieties and restrictive religious doctrines, have obscured the wisdom of our ancestors, leading us astray from a more balanced and holistic understanding of our own nature. Remember the story of Onan, once wielded as a condemnation of self-pleasure, now revealed as a tale of familial duty and societal obligation, a far cry from its modern misinterpretation. Consider the Taoist practices of energy cultivation, where sexual essence is not something to be squandered, but rather a precious resource to be preserved and transmuted for spiritual growth. Reflect on the tantric principles of energy transmutation, where conscious sexual practice becomes a catalyst for self-realization and union with the divine. What if these ancient wisdom traditions hold the key to unlocking our full potential, liberating us from the chains of shame and guilt, and empowering us to embrace our sexuality as a source of vitality and joy? Debunking the modern myths about masturbation, reaffirming the scientific and spiritual validity of self-exploration and pleasure without guilt, and reclaiming our ancient roots gives us back control of ourselves. By understanding sexuality as an integral part of spirituality and overall well-being, we begin to dismantle the walls of shame and build a foundation of self-acceptance. Embracing our sexual energy rather than suppressing it can lead to improved personal relationships, enhanced creative expression, and a deeper sense of fulfillment in all areas of our lives. The pattern of forbidden knowledge continues to echo through time, reminding us that reclaiming this knowledge is an act of self-empowerment, a defiant stand against societal control. Taking control of your sex life is an act of rebellion against the forces that seek to diminish your power, and that can transform other aspects of your life by giving you back control. Conscious self-pleasure, when approached with mindfulness and self-compassion, becomes a powerful tool for self-love and body positivity. Science affirms its benefits. Stress reduction, improved sleep, enhanced sexual satisfaction. Spirituality echoes this, recognizing its potential to connect us to our bodies, our desires, and our own divine essence. Embracing ancient perspectives, challenging modern norms, and questioning everything we think we know can lead us down a path of authenticity and fulfillment. A life lived without questioning is a life half-lived. But a life where you have control, that is true power. Now, it's time to take action. Implement the practical techniques we've discussed, starting with a simple mindful masturbation exercise, or perhaps taking a moment to reflect on your internalized beliefs about sex. Begin your journey of self-exploration and sexual reclamation today. Remember the power of breathwork, the transformative potential of visualization, and the importance of self-compassion. Start small, be patient with yourself, and trust the process. You might try taking a few minutes to simply breathe, visualizing the parts of you that you may have been taught to be ashamed of, and sending them love. In this video, we asked whether masturbation was inherently shameful or sinful, or whether ancient perspectives might offer a different view. We now know that the answer is a resounding no. Guilt and shame are not inherent to the act itself, but rather imposed by societal norms and religious dogma. Acceptance and empowerment are the birthright of every human being. You are not alone in this journey. Embracing your sexuality is a natural and healthy part of being human, and while overcoming societal conditioning can be challenging, know that you are supported, you are valued, and you are worthy of pleasure and joy. But what if this is just the beginning? What if you could harness your sexual energy to manifest your desires, to fuel your creativity, to deepen your spiritual connection? What would you create? What would you manifest? In future videos, we'll delve deeper into advanced concepts and practices, exploring tantric sex, Taoist energy practices, and the role of sexuality in spiritual awakening. We'll examine specific ancient texts, discuss advanced techniques for energy transmutation, and uncover even more hidden wisdom. Now, I want to hear from you. Share your experiences and insights in the comments section below. What are your first steps in reclaiming your sexual energy? What challenges have you encountered? Let's create a community of support and shared learning where we can all grow together. Embrace your sexuality, reclaim your power, and create a life of joy and fulfillment. Like, share, and subscribe for more empowering content.